Welcome to today's episode, my friends, as we break down the full fairy team comp for you here today. So thank you for tuning in. As always, if you enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. On top of that, if you got a question, if you got a comment along the way, do let me know because I'd love to hear from you as always. And feel free to join us in our amazing active Discord server. All right, so why are we doing this one? First and foremost, the fairy comp has been top of my mind, top of my list, and on top of that, many of you have asked about it in the comments, and I love covering stuff that you enjoy and you enjoy commenting about. We got two key comments that I do want to showcase here because they're great comments, and some of you have been doing some investigation on this comp itself. So Shiro here, thank you for sharing. Tried a full fairy comp, White Lily, Silver Bell, Mercury, Elder, and Snap, which is exactly what we have. Did pretty well against the triple DPS comp and to an extent the double DPS, 2 healer, 2 DPS, 2 tank. Now those references are exactly to the best 3 Kingdom Arena team comps that we have there for Elder Fairy Cookie. I'll have that available to you down below so you can check that out as well. Now, struggles more against the 3 tank teams, but if it's at the same power level, it's a 50-50. So that's good to know. Now, additionally here, beat a 2 million triple power DPS team with a 1.5 million power. That's great because that's exactly what we have. We'll come back to that here in a second. Elder Fairy is a good option for a super epic tank if you don't have Crimson or Fettuccine. My friends, keep that in mind. Many of you have asked me that as well. It's a great tank, absolutely. Now, the other one that we have here as well that I do want to spotlight, and certainly if you're watching the videos, you can check these things out, is Tashanka here. I don't see anyone playing or talking much about the full fairy team. Well, you know what? We're doing it here today. The only stuff I've heard of is how bad it is. I don't think that's necessarily true. To be honest, we just had that great comment there. Now, I understand that other teams could be better, plus SMB and MK are pretty bad sometimes, but I'm trying to play it all the time. It has some use against Coral solo tank pretty well, but some well against triple or dual tanks sometimes. So similar comments here in terms of what we're seeing for our particular group right here, the Elder Fairy team, my friends. And that is exactly why we're doing this here today. We're going to play a bunch of rounds with this particular team for you so that you can see exactly about some of these things. A lot of the things that they're referencing as well is right now we got a new arena reset, so we're going to continue to climb our way up. We'll talk about some of the ones there that are a little bit more meta, like this one right here. We'll try and align to some of those power levels. Now my power level, as you can see, is at 1.5 as well, so we get to test out some of these things as we're going here today. But first and foremost, we will break this team down for you, and all those things are in the timestamps as always that you can find down below, and flip to the section that you're looking for, and don't forget all those other comps are down there too. All right, let's get into it here for our fairy team comp. Now here is exactly what we're doing with our fairy team. Now, first and foremost, again, you can always visit Mileage Shop depending on when you're watching this episode, those kinds of things. We like to call that out there, so you can do that. Right now, you can still get Elder Fairy as a free-to-play player. I'll make sure I have that guide available to you down below too, so that you can see that and how you get that cookie. Now, a couple things here about this comp. The fairy comp is all about fairies. Now, the reason why is a few good reasons, to be specific, is that each of these fairies do play off of each of the other fairies. So that is very important for us and important for you to understand, because that makes a big piece of it here. When Mercury Knight Cookie enters the battlefield with Silver Bell Cookie, the Silver Knighthood buff will activate. Silver Knighthood buff is right here. Silver Bell Cookie's damage resist buff can't be dispelled. Silver Bell Cookie and Mercury Knight Cookie get max HP plus 30% and attack speed 50% at the start of battle. White Lily Cookie's max HP goes 20%, damage resist plus 30. Elder Fairy Cookie's max HP 30% at the start of battle. White Lily Cookie, Elder Fairy Cookie, Silver Bell Cookie, Mercury Cookie debuff, resist plus 20%. So all very huge things. And then additionally here, when we go ahead and look here, we also got plenty of other buffs that we're going to get off of the lovely Elder Fairy here. White Lily Cookie will gain 2 Prism Shards. Elder Fairy's damage resist. Now, very important to understand how to upgrade Elder Fairy. We do have the topping biscuit guides. I'll have those available to you down below. That's how you get those shards there for White Lily. And then additionally here with White Lily, a couple of other key pieces here is the more buffs White Lily has on her, a lot better of damage, a lot better of other things, all those great things that you need to know for this particular cookie. And again, you can check out all of our key guides on those pieces here. And then last but not least, again, we do have our Silver Bell. And then again, the Silver Knighthood, like we talked about before, triggering that for all the cookies here. Now we have the Snapdragon to really buff White Lily and the team, which is why we have that. We're running essentially a double healer. Slight mid-range in the defense. You kind of got a 1.5 here in terms of Silver Knight or Mercury Knight plus the Elder Fairy, and then additionally here White Lily. So this thing is going to have a little bit of survivability, a little bit of damage dealing, but really predicated around White Lily's knockdown power, good healing. But the big thing again is this team is just going to grow because of all the buffs and all the interplay on it as a style of a team. So like an elemental team, that is key, except different. It's more of a type, not elemental. So that's very important to understand. Now, this particular team, what we are going to do is we are still going to stay in terms of our 4 Ts. That's the tactics. That's the team. Now we're talking about the treasures and the toppings. Here we're going to be on attack and cooldown still. We're going to stay with Dream Conductor's Whistle, Old Pilgrim Scroll, Sleepyhead Jelly Watch, those kinds of things there. Now, certainly you can use other things. You could be more on speed. You could also use Vial if you wanted to. You could go a little bit more defensive here. You could go for crit, those kinds of things. But this is what we want to be on with this particular team. Again, a lot of it's predicated based off of your treasures. That is where my stuff is at as a free-to-play player. Now, again, in terms of toppings and biscuits here, we don't have resonant yet for any of these, so keep those things in mind. We do have resonant toppings. We always recommend those when it makes sense. Now, however, we're on solid almond here. We're on solid almond here for survivability. We're going to be on attack. We're going to be on cooldown, and we'll be on cooldown here for these ones. Now, certainly you could switch this over to attack if you wanted to, as an example, to kind of change things up. But wanted to give you some options here when it comes to this fairy team and ways that you can think about it. And again, make sure you just have biscuits on everything. The number one that we'll call out here is you just need to make sure you have at least HP on Elder Fairy to trigger all the key stuff that he has. So I wanted to call that out. Again, you can check out all the toppings biscuit guides. We do have the playlist and that stuff available to you. So that is our Elder Fairy team, my friends. So let's go and see how this works. So we got a fairly heavy attacker team with 2 defensive ones here. I'm going to move off the fast forward so that we can see how some of this stuff plays out for you, because it is certainly the better way for us to do it. We can skip through some of the smaller ones just so that we can keep moving and find the right teams. But you can see, look at that, lots of damage right out of the gate actually, which is pretty impressive to see against another damage team. And if you saw on my team, we weren't taking a lot of damage, which is silly, like our silly opponent right there, right? All right, so here we go. That is a nice knockdown for us out of the gate for our team. Now here in these two, we're definitely higher instead. This one is a little bit closer to a meta, so let's go ahead and run against this. Now, again, my team is almost 2x in terms of this one, so we should be able to make swift work. Again, look at that, really nice pop of damage there out of the gate, and there it is, my friends. Ooh, coming back, and now it is over. All right, so there you see a little bit, once again, a lot more damage, a nice win streak for us nonetheless. We're going to continue to keep climbing here. So like I said, some of the stuff that we're going to do is we're going to fast forward, boom, just like that. There we go. And make it nice and easy so we can go find another team. We'll take this one, I promise. Look at that, boom. Yes. And don't forget about your fast tracks, because that's a great way to move quickly. All right, so here again, we got a little bit higher team. Now, not a full-blown... Oop, I didn't mean to fast forward. I forgot to change that up. Not a full-blown, I was looking for that battle. Not a full-blown meta team there. Let's see. This one's kind of close. This one's kind of close. This one's the double, almost triple defense team there. So let's go ahead. We'll pull off. This one's a little bit more damage. Again, similar at 1.4 against a 1.56-ish. One right there. A little bit higher on the way up right now in terms of where things are at. So let's see here. Again, doing some good damage. Not quite as much this time, but again, getting through down to Crimson Coral. Crimson Coral there is still just an amazing cookie nonetheless, my friends. Look at that. You can see the shards flying around there as well. Super, super powerful. All right, onwards and up. There we go. That's exactly what we're looking for. Diamond 2, Diamond 2. All right, here is, again, getting a little bit closer to some of the meta stuff in terms of what we have, what we're seeing. Let's take on this little bit higher one. Again, these two are almost the same. This one's got an extra heal, but these two are going to be a little bit more competitive. The 1.6 and the 1.62 there are going to be the harder hitting ones. So let's go for it and see how this goes. Yes, Ash, Albedo. Here we go. Now, there you go. A little bit more, but not quite as much. Here you can see the stacks, the amalgamation ones. You can see the damage down. Prism shards flying around. They did get Silver Bell. They did get Silver Bell that time, my friends. Someone got through and knocked one of our cookies out, right? All right, so the other one here is this one. That one's a little bit different, a little bit higher damage dealing. So we got the 3 damage dealers in this one instead of what we had versus the last one. Let's see how this goes. We got enough damage in. Again, Silver Bell barely hanging in there. So that is very key to see. The Frost Queen is a great hit against Silver Bell. So be cognizant of that. Now, one of the things that you could do a little bit differently, but what you will lose is all those buffs. So many of you have asked a lot of questions about Ice Cold Yeti. We've seen that in some of the meta, like this right here. A great counter against the Frost teams that you may encounter. So let's go ahead. We'll clear these ones real quick. So those are things that you can keep in mind as you're moving your cookies around, as you're running into other opponents. And that's always something nice to remember, particularly when you can put 5 attacker teams together and then move them around for what you need to do in order to succeed in your attacks. All right, so let's find another one that's a little bit more beefy here. This one is a much greater meta one. So this one is running the Ice Cold Yeti. No specific healer here. Primarily, again, because they're going to be focused on the Ice Queen, and lots of damage here out of the gate. We're not running that. They are, again, a much higher power level than us, though, and they got the 3 attacks. So we're going to take a gander that the good old Silver Bell is not going to last. This one's holding up much better, as you can see here. There we go. We connected. We connected, my friends. That was quite the hit. But you can see how different this battle is relative to some of the other ones here. There's that Ice Cold Yeti. Boom. We are in it to win it. And again, this is a fairy team. We don't see a lot of players on it like we talked about. Many of you were asking, which is why we're running this one. To show you something a little bit different, a little bit more unique. Again, we aren't quite fully at the top tier yet. That's why I'm kind of making my way up here quickly for you during our episodes, so that we can continue to move up and hit some of the higher tiered pieces, the ones that are going to be a little bit tougher. Here we go. Here's a triple maybe defense team right there. 1.7. So again, many of you asked me about this one. Let's go ahead after it. Here we are. Now, one of the things that you can do as well that's going to increase that power level, here's the top 12,000 one for you. Increase the power level, like mine is literally just increasing that attack piece kit, all that stuff there. Here we're running into that trouble. Let's see what we can do. We need to get our stuff off. Not enough. So now it's coming down to our 2. not quite enough damage, my friends. So this is the 3 heal team that you're going to run into and see. And there it is. So this was what some of you commented about in the comments. Let's go back. Oh, it might have knocked us back. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to show that. I know many of you always ask about the damage stuff. So that is a beat down for us right there. Elder Fairies right there. So this is what some of you commented about that we talked about at the beginning, was exactly this. This team does not do great against the 3 defense team, and that is exactly what you saw. Part of that is going to be because of the defense structure of this team, like we said, a 1.5. And then additionally, because we're not getting enough damage in there in order to take stuff down. A lot of these things have the protection or prot for White Lily, which makes it a little bit harder to kill, my friends. So that is one of the reasons why you see this team particularly struggle about that or with it, which is why I wanted to cover that one here for you. Let's go ahead. We'll do the fast. Again, wasn't worried about that. Figure I kind of pre-calculate some of these things, to be honest, in terms of what we're going to hit. But I'm glad we were able to see exactly what some of you saw. And again, we were holding up fairly well against, we'll take this one down, fairly well against more of that attacker-based group, which is exactly what we saw, because we can get those big hits off out of the gate and so forth. But again, hitting that defense team becomes some of that challenge. All right, so again, here's a little bit different. I think we'll close out with this final one right here, because this is a great meta team for us here as well, between what we've seen. Again, we got the White Lily, we got the 3 attackers, we're running the Black Pearl. We talked about the Black Pearl as a swap. We do have Financier in there. We don't quite have the Elder, but let's go ahead and run this one here and close it down for us today against Mardello. So you can kind of see that full spectrum as well. All right, so here we go. Like we talked about, they're able to hit that back line and take things down quick enough. And with that one defender, making it much easier, my friends. All right, let's close this one down and get the big old W for our last battle today. All right. There we have it, my friends. There we have it. I certainly hope that you enjoyed today's episode. We broke down this amazing fairy team for you here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Oop, I always like to click on that, don't I? Oop, I like to click on that. All right, back to attackers. That's what we're saying. Broke down this amazing fairy team here for you today with some amazing comments from everyone as well. We tested a lot of those things out for you today. We'll continue to move onwards and upwards, as we like to say, and keep on running here. And certainly a team for you that you can use as well. With that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, my friends. If you still got questions, if you got comments, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. On top of that, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your support. Thank you for the likes and the subs as we continue to build this amazing community here. We'd love to see you in the Discord server. On top of that, thank you to all of our members. I appreciate that support. Down below, you can find our affiliate links as well. Something there for everyone, and our socials. At me, chat me, as I like to say. We'd like to pull a lot of great things together for you that you like to hear about and see as well. So with that, we'll see you again soon. Enjoy the fairy team here, because it is a fun one. And certainly, I think, personally, better than what most would be saying or expecting. And again, it's going to depend on your team. Mine, again, is around 1.5 million. I'm a free-to-play player. And again, certainly able to see a lot of those things here in today's episode. With that, we'll see you again soon. We'll see you out there. Keep on running, my friends.